Today, let's have a chat with someone very experienced in the hobby. Hey, what's up, guys? Vishek here from Aruflix, and second video of 2021. We're going to talk to someone very experienced in the entire fish keeping hobby, not just arowanas. We're going to hear from him some very interesting tips and tricks on how to maintain your fish tank. But before we get started, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। मिलते हैं जिब्रान शरीफ से और उनसे पूछते हैं कि वो क्या करते हैं अपने एक्वेरियम्स के साथ जो इतने सही से वो रख पाते हैं, उनको इतना एक्सपीरियंस है उनको, तो सुनते हैं उनसे।
You guys know a lot more about arowanas.
No. I am very much. I am learning still. But also, I was telling. I think I was telling you or someone else the other day when you mentioned that you're old school and you do it more the conservative way and all of that. So that is the time when I was telling someone that there are a lot of basics that we still don't know. We may be talking a lot about arowana color and tanning and all those big things, but we don't know the basics still. A lot of us don't know maintaining water quality and a whole lot of those things. So so that's the reason why I thought I'll talk to you, because it doesn't have to be arowanas all the time. It can be just about maintaining water parameters, maintaining tank, what kind of filtration and all of those things. So all over to you. How do you manage your tanks? How do you manage water quality? What is it that some of the things that we need to take care? One of the big discussions that were happening is about I had put one photo, you may have seen, where my arowana was sitting at the bottom,
Yes.
and a lot of people said that there is a pH is high, maybe TDS is high, maybe someone was saying temperature. So why not talk about these parameters? How do they impact? How do we take care?
See, one thing is there is the acidity or the basicity of the water. That is a very big thing. For example, like if you know bettas, wild bettas.
Yes.
Wild bettas live in really acidic conditions. These bettas that live in these acidic conditions never have to worry about a lot of parasites, a lot of diseases. That cannot happen in acidic conditions. Like for example, like something like Argulus, if you know, the fish lice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for small wild bettas, like something like a Macrosoma or this one Algae marginata, all these things get afflicted with fish lice when they come in the other water conditions, where we don't keep a very low pH. All these kind of things are there. Then there are also to a certain to a certain extent where when you give the wrong pH or the wrong TDS, there is always a few what do you say, on a molecular level there are parasites and bacteria that can affect your fish, which would not affect in its actual conditions. Like they have evolved over the years to battle it. That is why many of the fish that we keep, like when someone says this fish comes from so and so pH, it comes from so and so hardness of it, the general hardness. All these are important factors, not just for breeding the fish, but also to keep it healthy for a long period of time. Keeping a fish alive for 3 to 4 years, anyone can do. But the real thing comes when you actually keep it close to its lifespan. Like for example, you have your arowanas. How many of us are able to keep them for 35 years? Very few hobbyists actually are able to maintain it for that long period of time.
Very true.
Most of the time, we don't see it happen because most of the people, have like any kind of artificial environment that we can provide always has its loopholes or cons. Like for example, like a few weeks back, I was sharing how many fish I have killed in the last 1 year.
Yes, I saw that. Wow, I was looking through it, and that must be so stressful, to lose the pets.
Yes, it happens. Like for example, the Dorado was a very difficult loss because I think that was the first group of Dorado kept successfully as a group by any hobbyist. So that was a very big heartfelt loss. And it was a simple mistake. I came home late in the evening. I was doing some filter maintenance. I forgot to switch on the filter and went out.
Oh.
And my fish room is outside my house. So I don't see it for the next 24 hours. So when I came back, everything was dead. And the Dorado were maybe like 7 years old. The Goons was somewhere around 29 inches, maybe 4.5 years old. The Atabapo Pike, again 14 inches. So that was bad.
Yeah,
Happens.
I can imagine.
And I recently lost a 16-inch albino silver. My Adonis Pleco killed it.
Oh.
And I did not understand that the Adonis was killing it till I put my Rosoxy catfish, that is the Dorada catfish, inside the tank, and I lost him also. And the tank is not small. The tank is somewhere around 1,000 liters.
Oh, that's a very big tank.
And the fish, the Adonis, he's like hardly 11 inches because they're very slow growers. Maybe 8-year-old specimen. Very slow growers, but he killed.
How did he do that?
Adonis are very well equipped. They look like cactus.
Huh.
They have spines all over their body.
Huh.
So he kept on hitting the catfish, and he killed the catfish in one night.
Oh.
So most of the time, like how we keep in artificial enclosures, we are unable to keep them for a very long period of time. Our time spans are very small to ascertain how it affects the fish in a very long term. Like that is why some of the delicate fish, like discus or the barca or something like I mean to say internally delicate, like dacnoids, tigrinus catfish, puffers, all these fish, they need very perfect conditions, because maybe immediately you will not see any issue, but in a small short period of time, like maybe 2 years, like for example with a tigrinus, if you don't keep them in the right conditions, that is less than 10 ppm of nitrates, and the pH has to be less than 6.5. If these conditions are not maintained, they usually develop a bacterial infection which spoils their I don't know what it is, because obviously we don't go to a vet, or we don't get any particular clarity on how, what, where. But on the forums I found that they get some kind of bacterial infection in their blood, and they eventually slowly fade away to death. That is, they start swimming aimlessly, then they'll start banging around the tank, then they will lose their balance and then do barrel rolls, then eventually they die. And this happened to me both times. So, for example, if you go for Mubu puffers, if you keep them in a tank with more than 10 ppm of nitrates, they will lose their eyesight. So it is always have to be less than 10. So these are some of the things that we do. And other than that, checking what your water parameters are on a random basis is very important. Like just having a expensive filter or doing 50 to 70% water changes doesn't help. Your filter can crash for anything. Like for example, you receive water from your corporation, you pass it through maybe zeolite and some activated carbon and then put it in your water. Now for example, if your zeolite is very old, then it will not clear all the chlorine. And if your activated carbon is old, then ammonia is also not cleared. So all that comes to your tank. A sudden spike in ammonia will crash your filter. Your water will look crystal clear, but inside there will be swings of nitrates, nitrites. So for that, random testing of water is very important. Don't go buy the whole test kit. 3 factors. One is nitrite and ammonia. These 3 test kits are a very important thing if you are maintaining a water, if you are maintaining a tank.
So what do you do when after testing, if you see any of these parameters have gone beyond a certain level, what do you do then?
See, if your nitrates are shooting, then you can just do a water change. But if your nitrite and ammonia is shooting, then ammonia cannot be more than 0 ppm. It always has to be 0 ppm. Nitrites, if they have started climbing, means something is wrong. Even nitrites have to be 0. If nitrites have also started climbing, once nitrites start climbing, eventually ammonia will also start climbing. So it is always better, once you see nitrites, there is something wrong with your filter. So always have some zeolite and some activated carbon at home. Zeolite will help you remove ammonia immediately from your water. But I never use zeolite for long periods of time.
Okay.
If I suddenly see ammonia in my tank, in my sumps, I have one place where the water gets drained out. So that compartment I always keep empty. So that is the place where zeolite and activated carbon will go when I see something wrong with my filters.
Okay.
And after maybe a week or 6 days, 5 days, once I again notice the water has cleared, then I remove it. Activated carbon, usually you cannot do much, you have to throw it away. Zeolite, you can recharge. That is, in a bucket of water, you make a brine solution and then put zeolite. And then rinse it with clean water and it will get recharged. Again, you can use that same zeolite. But activated carbon, you can use it for how long you want and then throw it and buy new activated carbon. So this is one of the chemical filtrations, but really helps when something goes wrong in your tanks.
So instead of zeolite, so you know what, in my tanks I've got matrix, Secum matrix, and they claim that they remove ammonia, nitrate, nitrites. So is that useful?
I usually don't use third-party filtration media, but from what I've heard from other users, they really appreciate Secum's products, especially the filter media. Matrix.
So for me,
People,
matrix is
swear
constantly
by
in the
it.
sum. For me, I don't remove the matrix. I have it constantly inside the sum.
Yeah, you don't have to remove it. See, with zeolite, what happens is, in our tanks, it catches any ammonia that is there. But if we put salt in the tank, for some reason, like maybe ick, white spot, you put salt, and then salt will displace ammonia and release all the ammonia from zeolite into the water. And that will be a very huge spike of ammonia. So for that reason, I don't keep zeolite for a long period of time.
Okay. So there was Gibran. I think you all enjoyed listening to him. मुझे तो बहुत मज़ा आया उनसे बात करके, इतना कुछ सीखने को मिलता है उनसे, और मैं तो सोच रहा हूँ एक बार और बात कर लूँ उनसे. क्या लगता है आपको? करना चाहिए? कमेंट सेक्शन में बताइए मुझे कि आपने आज कौन सी चीज़ सीखी उनसे. So guys, that's about it in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Till I come back in the next one. Peace.